order.
Yeah.
Okay, good evening. Welcome to the Town of Tufton Borough Budget Committee meeting of June 2nd, 2026. I'm going to call the meeting to order. We have a quorum and pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Any public input? No public, so no public input. So we have the April 21st, 2026 minutes that were in the package. And I would take a motion to approve those from the floor. Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Right? And then I would just like to note, and Steve, this is for you, that right now, if you go on our website, where you might have all the minutes posted for all these meetings, none of the minutes for the February 3rd, 10th, 16th, or 26th, ones I looked at, have been updated to the actual minutes that were approved by the Budget Committee. And given everything that happened in those meetings, I think it's really important that that be done as soon as possible. And I'd also ask that, I know there's been work going on certain other topics and other areas and other things, that to the extent that work is going on and these minutes were provided to any third party in the format that was on the website, that those minutes now be sent out in their final form to people that were provided to. Thank you.
But the minute issue is applies in some other category.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it's really important that we get, I try and respond within 48 hours to the minutes when I get them. And then that's just, the revised draft should be up. Are there any, I have no comments, are there any chairman or member comments? Okay. So the unassigned fund balance policy that Audrey sent out after our last meeting, I think it came out in the package as well. So I hadn't seen this before because it wasn't provided. And so
Frankly, the fund balance policy is a policy of the segment. The budget committee can express an opinion on it, but I would suggest that we wait until the fund balance policy produces some numbers that you guys can look at later in the year.
meaning what?
Meaning, I think it's premature to, part of the agenda was to discuss the fund balance policy. And I'm just suggesting that we defer that until there's actually numbers to talk about.
Well, I think it's more generic than that. I think if you look at the guidance I sent out, that you were to Robert was provided before, right? That it's pretty specific as to creating an amount that you think is necessary based on assessment of the risk factors for the town. That does that we create an amount and that amount be then the target that we have, and then we have a plan for how we refill that target if it gets used, and what we can do, sort of what the order of events is for excess fund balances. And so what really happens, and this happened in this town, is as it relates to, for instance, the solar field. When it became convenient, it was going to be hard to pass a town meeting, but you could say it had no taxes, so you went to the unassigned fund balance and you took out of that. And so I think that having a long-term plan for the town is important. I think it intersects with the budget committee. I understand it's a selectman issue, But it just says it's the budget committee, because the budget committee is looking at things like capital reserve funds that are significantly underfunded and looking at a bunch of other things. And so if you can't create a long range plan, knowing what the goal line is as it relates to one of the most significant balances, how do you do any long-term planning in the town?
Noted. And this piece of the selectmen have the documents that you sent, we'll look at.
Okay,
May I?
yeah, sure.
I received this as well, and, I think maybe, what Rob was potentially looking at, I did actually pull up some of the fund, personal warehouse policies in some of the neighboring towns. And it actually delineates what, if you went on, the NHMA website. And, so absolutely, these could be used as a good reference for the selectmen if they're even interested, but this, the one from Goffstown especially, and I know it, every town has a different, budget, but I think just the schematics, like this one here, they created it in 2007. They looked at it again in 2022, 2025, and the most current version of this is in 2025. And it seemed like it's fairly comprehensive, and they used, the items that were referenced in the NHMA. So I don't know if that would be something that, would be of interest.
Yeah, I can find that.
So that, it was easily delineated from just doing a quick search. And some of these are, of course, more detailed than others, but I think most of them follow I believe, to Rob's point, what he was pointing out, as opposed to what this was. So I'm happy to share that. And go from there.
Happy to have it.
Chris, in your reading of the other policies from other towns, do some of them differentiate between these major items, in that some might be at a full 17% and some might be at a lower number?
They all have specified exact percentages, and it is, and they all, the ones that got a little more in depth, did state why they chose the percentage they chose. And like I said, it was very helpful and useful. So certainly, if that's something I can email that to you. Would that be done?
Sure.
I think that this policy that we're looking at is certainly good to have on paper, but I would like it to be a little more,
Well, it's just a definition, really.
yeah, okay. In other words, you understand that you can bend any one of these for the exact amount of percentage in reserves that you're gonna hold.
It runs from 900,000
Yeah,
to 3.2 million.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the same percentage for every one of them.
Well-
It's not like, these are the amounts it takes it from, but it really, the only thing we're on the hook for as a
That's right.
Tufton Borough is the Tufton Borough
Yeah.
budget.
Yeah.
We're not on the hook for anything else.
No, and so I would presume those would be very minimal, and on the other hand, going to a point made by the selectmen, the operating budget will happen.
Well, if it's okay, I'll scan and email this to the whole committee and the selectmen. Would that be right?
That'd be great.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you for the.
No problem.
On that, Chris.
Yeah.
When they do policy revisions, are they, majority of the time, are they reevaluating the percentage?
Yep, I did quickly look at the Goffstown one, and it is different based on the percentages, and just, every town changes to
Yeah.
a certain degree. So, and like I said, and the select board all signed off on these, you know what I mean? So, like I said, I'll happily, scan and email these if something that would interest you.
It's highly dependent on what risks you face.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and whether you also have a lot of debt
Yeah.
and, all those kinds of things. So Tufton Borough's got its own unique profile. And so this should be tailored to that.
Yeah.
And, this doesn't really look like a fund policy. It should look like we look at any guidance from NHMA or GFO. So, all right, so this is a selectman issue, I understand. I just think that in order to have a good financial operation and the budget committee to operate effectively, this should be something that we should be looking at, that the selectmen should be looking at. So this is now squarely on your plate.
Always was.
Good. So on the budget committee process memo, I actually want to spend more time with it. I want to think about some stuff that's in there. Sorry, I skipped the whole No, I didn't.
No,
No, yeah, so we are number 8. I'd like to spend some time, with that a little more. I just want to make sure that we get the right people doing the right things.
So table it.
Yeah,
till
table
next-
until September, whenever we have our next meeting. August. Okay. So I have scheduled. Moving on to agenda item number 9, then we have NHMA training, private session. And as Steve pointed out to me, it's we're gonna change it from being highly generic to being highly focused, and so I'm gonna have a call. They will do that. I'm gonna have a call with them. What I'm gonna come up with is a list of agenda items that I will circulate out to the group, including the selectmen. And then,
One way or the other, I'm in the group.
yeah, no, but Bob and Jenna as well. And Audrey, and then, we can add to that list so that we can talk about the things that are important to Tufton Borough as we go about doing that, and the things that we maybe have are most conflicted on. So we can see clarity on those.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be.
And I'm hoping that they'll come bring people that can address this.
I think once I have a conversation with them and they understand the level of inquiry that's gonna happen,
It's not a PowerPoint.
no, run through yeah, I agree. So I think once we have that discussion, which I'll have, get back, June with them, and then we can work through it, and I'll create an initial a little initial list, and we can tailor it, and maybe you and I can work through on it. And get anybody else's feedback that wants to give feedback on it.
On a general housekeeping issue, did you have that in September 9th?
Yes.
Yes,
for
sorry.
them.
By 4, okay. For some reason, I have a police visit on September 9th too, so that's right, not right.
It is supposed to be at
Yeah,
4 o'clock, so we're gonna have to change that one.
yeah,
It's because that was the day that everything to do. That's my campaign.
yeah, okay, well, that takes precedence then.
Are we gonna do this in the library? Back over in the library?
Yes, we can, I think that's the best place to do it, right?
Yes, but the audio videos.
And so I'd ask, because you just struck out a legal fees from the budget, that you reach out to town council and find out how we go about doing it as a meeting. So do we notice it? Do we have to invite everybody, the public welcome? I'm fine. I just want it to be the group of people that are gonna be doing the work. Yep,
Tell you how it went in Wolfboro. The public was invited because it was a posted meeting, but only the people, us, the budget committee and then the selecting town people were allowed to ask questions. Were allowed to participate. Anybody that came was allowed to listen, but we were only allowed to, I wasn't allowed to ask a question.
so my hopes and goals for this are that we have a really candid, open discussion where everybody kind of just lays it out, what they're worrying about, what they're concerned about, that nobody's guarded because they're 25 voters sitting behind. And I'm including the NHMA people aren't guarded for that reason. So I want to understand how we can do the meeting in a way that's really open, and I'm fine. Listen, I don't have anything, in town. It's sort of, I want to do what's best for the town. So I'm comfortable, but I'm actually more worried about the NHMA people being more guarded
Yeah.
than, in their responses and being less forthcoming.
Well, I tell you, I raised my hand and I was shut right down.
Yeah.
But I think I think also that, I think that they are gonna be more, cut and dry, and not as candid if there are a lot of people from the public there, and that is a definite concern.
So we had the non-meeting meeting when we were going through the whole thing on the police station warrant article. So I don't know whether there's a non-meeting meeting we can have. I also don't want to do anything that raises eyebrows or questions. So I want to be crystal clear on what we can or can't do.
Is there a reason that we have to have it? I mean, other than a normal,
Well,
like a meeting like tonight.
well, you can have a non-meeting. I mean, this is, I have to read it in the beginning. Sure, but there's a public meeting and then there's the non-public meeting and then there's a non-meeting. Maybe we could just refresh ourselves on what a non-meeting is, and be okay.
Okay, we should probably get some advice, just because we don't want to get this wrong.
I would appreciate it.
I could fire up an email.
Okay. All right, so that is on yours. How do we go about, who wants to take the responsibility for booking the conference room in the
I
library?
can find out.
Well,
I can do it. I mean, it's fine.
you're talking about the program room.
The program, the big room, yeah.
Well, I guess it depends, do you anticipate, we could do it at the fire station also, they have the same.
True.
Oh, that's good, that's true too.
Good point.
It's a little more, less intimidating if you have a big room and there's only.
Yeah,
12 people.
okay. So the fire station's great, so why don't we reach out to, I can reach out to, Chris. And,
That's good.
and then, I saw on the notice that they were going to build Tuftonboro, sending the bill to Cammy, so I told Cammy when the bill comes, just send it to me. I'll pay for it, so. Sure. Meeting, what is the? Meeting. Status. Anything, any more discussion on the training private session?
Just to be clear, it's the third choice, September 9th.
Yeah. Good. Right, moving on. Review of real estate revenues and expenses. I was surprised that it was that easy to get a schedule, to be honest. So, why don't we start with going through the year-to-date revenues? And what I suggest, this works for everybody, that we just flip through the pages and we ask questions as we go through. So my first question is on page 1. And that's sort of third or fourth line, the yield taxes. Where we have $8,300 of revenue. What are yield taxes?
Cutting trees,
Timber.
sand pits.
Timber.
Is it a tax or is it just?
If you have your timber cut,
Yeah,
what ends up happening is the loggers send it to the town and you'll get an actual property tax bill and it says exclusively timber tax.
I have a question is before that,
yeah,
on the very first thing, property taxes, why is there no estimate?
which we don't estimate that. Because it's a rate, so we're looking for non-tax revenues, because these revenues are used to set the tax rate at the end of the day. So. Yeah, and this includes all the taxes, including state, school, whatever, county. Okay, and then penalties and interest. I'm just surprised, the whole of last year, we had 29,562, and about 42% through the year, I got 110% already.
I don't have an explanation other than that things are better.
Penalties are worse, or penalties? Yeah, I can only assume it's from people paying property taxes late.
That seems a little.
I worry that we've got an allocation issue.
Yeah.
There's something going on.
There's something that maybe.
There's gonna be a bunch of these, so how am I gonna do that? How are we gonna get this?
you make notes on this, and what your questions are, hand it off to Steve, and,
Give me a clean copy, then
Here.
I'll make notes on
There
it.
you go. Take mine. There was a second one that's moved out.
I have made copies. We can use it.
No, I got one right here. I think, hold on. Oh, it's just the expenditure that was different. not the revenue. The expenditure was different. Did you make a copy, Jill?
I printed off what was sent to us.
Yeah, it was in what was sent to us. Do you have an extra?
If this is the same.
Yep. No, not yours, but.
interest could also be on our, money market.
No, that's a separate account.
Is it?
Penalties.
And then, so then I go to page 2. I go to the end of the page, so that if there's any other questions before then. So this $100,000 is gonna come up in 3 different places. And this was the 100,000 that relates to the warrant article from 2023. And that would be, oh my goodness, the Mirror Lake CWSRF grant. Right? And so I noticed we received no revenue from that. I don't know why this would still be, why this is not non-lapsing. This is a multi, unfortunately, this is not an easy one. In 23. And then when we were discussing this back in February, there'd been a bunch of payments made against it already. And so I'm not sure how those payments happened, where they're coming from, what account they're coming out of. So I think it's kind of an important thing to track this down and find out what it is and where we are and what, you know, whether it was a contract, what documents were there.
Can I just ask a question back on that? Okay, Jenny?
Sure.
The payment in lieu of taxes, who do we get those from?
Can't see it.
Yes.
The camp. Camps, yeah. Not nearly enough.
Yeah.
What's happening when they buy real estate around it?
I think that's part of the package.
You lose your tax revenue.
Yeah. Supposed to always be related to nonprofit activities. Broadly defined. There has been litigation by other towns about what is and isn't part of their mission.
Yeah, the camps that try to hold land as sort of a buffer, they lose. Well, they lose on the lawsuits, because they're really not being used for the program of camp, they're just sitting there and used as a buffer.
You notice this is about the same amount that it was when you and I were on
I know.
it. It hadn't changed.
It's talked about, but it's, I don't want to say it's a third rail kind of thing, but it's a lot of sensitivity to it, so.
My understanding is that they don't legally have to pay.
Exactly.
We've got at least a half a dozen, that qualify, and we only see checks from them, I think.
I think the total assessment value of the camps, back when we looked at this, it was huge.
It's more.
I mean, then if you look at the standby services that serve these camps, please, what they're contributing away covers.
It's de minimis at best.
Okay. So moving on to page 3. We have a line item, other state grants and reimbursements, revenue from state of New Hampshire. We had no revenue estimate for that. I don't know what that's for. And I'll move down to income from departments.
When does the meals and rooms?
Once a year. Wow. And this would be for this revenue is for 2025. Correctly. So once they've done all the accounting. They'll divvy it up. So the income from, I'm assuming there's an allocate, this is just an allocation issue, we've got 160,000. We have 160,000 on one line item under recycling fees and permits, and then the rest is just, I guess, zeros. So, and we've collected really no money for
Are we really gonna get $160,000 in recycling fees?
well, I think it's the total at the bottom. This one can confirm, just confirm. Estimate. Yeah. Not. Well. Yeah, well, how do you put I mean, it's more like the recycling income, which is, that income from the transfer station should be estimated. And, right now, we're obviously running pretty short, but I think there's a lag in the payments on that. If I remember correctly. What's the, so moving on to page 4. 42,000 of year-to-date revenue from sale of municipal property. What have we sold? What does this relate to?
Sold a couple of lots across the street.
7,200 would be the truck.
7257, I think that's the code officer's truck, you're right?
We didn't trade that in? No. I would, so this
We
is
do pretty well when we sell.
a note to selectmen and a request for you guys to consider. As you think about our capital reserve funds, that we think about it being a net funding, and that we automatically create a warrant article that says that the proceeds from the sale of the replacement piece, so when we sell the fire engine, or we sell the truck, we sell, goes back into the capital reserve account. We can either do it in the year it happens or in the year after. We never forecast this revenue anyway. And what it does, it helps mitigate the cost of the ongoing deficit that we have in capital expenditures.
Because now it just goes into the general fund. It
Fund.
should go back to the original.
I'm pretty sure that's how CIP had it set up.
It's in our CIP report.
Yeah. And I want to say that the discussion around that was to make up for potential inflation.
Right.
So it's an important, yeah. It's an important contribution.
Okay. Then we have our interest on investments. So that's one that Bob, that you were thinking about before. And municipal property rents, we estimated 52,000, we already received 43,000. What are we renting?
Cell tower,
Oh, and so, do we get a once a year payment or is it a monthly
I'm
payment?
not sure how
I'm sure it's periodic or not. Regular.
Okay. Well, it's good to know, so when we're doing the forecast for next year, we have a better understanding of hit and misses. And then this is another one that I think is, we're under insurance dividends and reimbursements. I'm not sure whether this is our other insurance reimbursements. So if we have, like, for instance, I don't know what happened when we backed into the police department. Okay, so this must be, I'm assuming this is for some insurance claim. We got money in?
Yeah. Not all of it. We're gonna,
So this should go
where would you put it?
to reduce the expense. Because what your issue is gonna be, is you're gonna,
But the expenses in the fire and the police station.
right? In the capital, so just reduce the capital cost of the police station against the warrant. I think we're gonna have a conversation about that, because I think you're looking, I don't know the timing of it, but it looks like getting really tight on money, if I'm looking at what the money that's left over there. So I know it's not on the sheet that way, but when I pull two numbers together, I'll show you. Okay, so, but I think what really, so for instance, if you damage a police cruiser, let's use it as an example, right? And you got to pay $7,000, which is an insurance claim to repair it, or $15,000 to repair it. If the expense goes into your appropriated funds, and the revenue comes in here, you got a budget issue, because that's locked and this isn't.
Right.
So you want to offset, you want to.
See, I'm not really sure what that is.
Okay,
I don't believe that's the same thing because the amount's not. I was thinking that the Primex reimbursement or payment on the damage was like in a $7,000-8,000 range. So
Yeah, I was thinking more like 10 or 11 or something.
What's up? Okay.
Right.
But we're not that far off.
Let's find out what it is.
Yeah.
What is it?
have that comment there, right?
You're writing all these down.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you can call me if you have a problem. I should probably take a photocopy of this. So that I can, other miscellaneous revenue. All right, so then I went back. And I went and looked at the MS 737. The total in the MS 730 is 2,718,562. And so that difference is 789,000. And I think what it makes up is the amounts that we drew from capital reserves of about 158,000, and the federal emergency money for the Sodom Road bridge. And so that's 631,000, which are not in here, which I think is fine. We just need to identify they're not in here. 631,308. Steve,
You're gonna make a comment.
you can add it. I'm assuming that you're gonna cover all the questions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've actually. Then we're gonna go, use expenditure report.
Just make sure that we're all out of the same one now. That's the run today at 2:57.
I have a different one. I have 528.
Should have been in your packet when you have your.
Yeah, no, but you're gonna use the stuff that mailed out, otherwise.
Oh, it's not. Look at what your lines are. Decide if it's important.
Why don't we just do it as of the first of the month? So we know it's so many months out. You know, like June first or May first or.
So here's an advocate for a calendar year end.
What do we have? Oh, wait,
Fiscal.
yeah, fiscal. Yeah, wait, fiscal. So what is that? December 31st, right?
We should have a fiscal year end.
June. Fiscal years like June or September, calendar years.
We're a calendar. Oh, we into December 31st? Yeah, by this month, yeah, right.
Just because the state part of this, because they're
I think we can work with whatever
I
version,
think so.
I think we can work with whatever version we have for now, but I agree with you, Joe, that we should, whatever's in the mail out is what we should look at. There's somebody else sent an email out today about it.
Okay. All right,
Well, it-
Then when
Which
we're
one?
done,
Made from me.
So I'm good through 1, 2, 3. Four. 5. Police department. We, on the police department, the on-call pay. You're not paying on-call pay?
well.
it
about
is about
69,
halfway down.
966.
Yeah, no, but
Page
we're out of the 19, I mean, we're at, 4% of the budget. And so what this is that they pay, is somebody who's always being paid every night to be on call, and they get a stipend for that. And so I would have thought that by now we would have spent 40 point something of the budget. Right, that's how I would get for it works. So I'm worried that this is sitting somewhere else.
Yeah, that's the first one.
And then, looking at, I'm just curious as to, as we look through the, what I'm gonna say are the non-discretionary discretionaries, which they can be discretionary if they have to be, but they're really non-discretionary when doing budgets. These expenses like uniforms, police equipment, office software and supplies, repairs and maintenance, we're very low on all those lines. Is that intentional, given the budget status this year, or are we managing it? Oh, working in the building?
We did, we did instruct all of the department heads to be very, very conscious of their budgets. But some of these things just aren't spent evenly across the year, they're spent in spurts.
Those are what cuts? I'm sorry, what cuts?
The $117,000 that we had to change between the selectmen's budget and the final pass budget.
Do we do what 117,000 was for? And what made up that difference?
Yeah. It's on another sheet.
No, it's not that.
No,
Not that.
That's not
No.
bad.
So I mean, just so we clear, the 117,000, and I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but 25,000 was a math error. Right, just a straight math error. Another 40,000 was moving money, or 65,000 was moving money to ETS out of the budget. So I think the ultimate cut was about 17,000 in the budget. So this is not the budget cuts. It can't be the budget cuts. I'm just telling you, just when you look at the math, you got to go back and look at the math, and Bob, I get.
It has nothing to do with the statement that I just said. You sidestepped the conversation, which is fine, you wanna go that direction, that's fine. But, all I was saying was, we instructed the department heads to watch their budgets.
Because of the budget cuts,
And do, yeah, absolutely.
because of 117,000, but this is, so when you say that, it's basically dumping the budget committee for something that's just not really valid.
I'm not hanging it on anybody, it is what it is,
The fact of life.
it is what it is.
So anyway, so the 100, so it's basically that we're holding back on some of these discretionary, so we may see them come through at the end of the year,
Amen.
as we see it, right?
And both the uniform allowance on the police department, fire department, excuse me, it's already up to 61.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's.
All right, highways and streets. So. We got, new line item here for winter materials. So I'm not sure what that is. It wasn't in the budget for 50,000. So I'm not sure what that is. We can find out.
Is that original? So that is a breakout from winter maintenance?
It's winter materials. I don't know.
Yeah, but
It may be.
if you add 293 and 50, we get pretty close to the 360, but.
No, but that would be, we still got November, and December to go.
I know it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, and then we have, road prep and repair. So I don't know where that shouldn't be, where the 6,000 shouldn't be. It was road prep and prepare. I'm not sure what it's for, but maybe it should be in the ETF. The,
Federal
trust fund.
The road part.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So are you indicating that there's some new line items that have been added that haven't been there previously?
Yeah.
Road sweeping, would that be one of them?
So
Yeah.
road sweeping. Road sweeping has been moved around depending on how they wanted to show the budget. Or the actual, and so last year it was put into roadside mowing. As part of the roadside mowing expense, because they lined the budget on that. And then before it's been summer maintenance.
I think it was set up simply to be more clear as to what the cost was. I don't think there's any big activity.
I don't
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't think there's any
That's
money.
not-
I don't think anybody's spending money on it. I'm just trying to make sure that we got the stuff in the right bucket, so when we come to look at the end of year expenditures, we know what we're looking at, and we don't have stuff in different places and the budget and stuff like that. I don't think anybody's running off checks. That's not what I'm
Well,
worried
no,
about.
I'm just saying in $1 million budget, I don't think 10 grand.
I think we were looking at just from a company.
But we were asking Jim pretty sternly, you know, what do you do, when do you do with that? So this is just, it's an effort to break out subsets of work that were formerly associated with, say, summer maintenance, but now, you know, it includes sweeping, it includes cleaning up the leaves from the gutters. Sure. Yeah, that
It
kind of,
would be more for consistency,
Yeah.
because then it's consistent and it's also transparent.
right.
And next year we have to do another budget, and if we like looking at parts moving all over the place, we're not gonna get it right. So it's better just to have the stuff consistently in one bucket. So we know it's in there and we can go after it. Not, yeah.
Didn't we also talk about road striping being part of the road paving?
Yep.
We did, but there are 4 roads that are in the annual budget. So Ledge Hill, Union Wharf,
Ones we're not paving, the should.
Bayberry Strike, yeah. So Ledge Hill, Union Wharf, and the 12 ones. We were.
Those are ones we're paving. We're not-
Yeah.
They're not straight.
Oh,
That's my religion.
And I'm in agreement with you, Rob, that striping on roads that are freshly paved go into the warrant article. That's correct.
Right.
I think we're all on board with that.
All right, and then. Are we short one person in the, sorry, I'm moving on to solid waste. Are we short one person right now? Or were we short? So looking at the, recycling assistant too.
Yeah, well, we still have Rob's position that has not been filled yet, so he's still working, I think, 20 hours. But we budgeted for full time.
Right. I mean, I know we're low on all these disposals, but if I remember correctly, about a month or more behind, but we should be.
returning because we've had one for. January.
Supposed to be in here.
Yeah, it's always on here.
Go to the postings. Find out which committee.
Never mind. It's difficult.
So we're, I mean, right now, we're only at 27.5% for solid waste, but I think there's a lot of bills that, I know they're like a month or two behind on their billing. On that.
It was on the website.
Once we scheduled for a long time.
I'm just verifying so that everybody knows that it was scheduled and it is in the website. Along with the supervisors and checklists.
So this is this, I mean, just, I know this is small dollars, but the direct assistance numbers here, we got reimbursement in our revenues for direct assistance. And so I don't know whether the reimbursement couldn't go against the expense and therefore create more room in your budget, but that's something you guys should look at.
What would miscellaneous be? I mean, it's up quite a bit this year. The shelter, food, medical, electric.
I remember the transfer.
$2,000.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's really, I mean, I don't know why. it doesn't-
Oh,
Well, I raised it because I don't like miscellaneous.
Oh, that was, we had to pay for a cremation. For somebody that had,
Yeah.
we had to pay for a cremation, that's what it was.
So you got reimbursed?
They won't-
We paid, I think we paid half of it.
Yeah. So just so you know, on the direct assistance, there was a reimbursement, which wasn't in our revenue projection, it was 6,425 in the revenues in account 3509. And then just, so I don't know how this happened, and I don't know how it works. But if you go to your reconciliation sheet there that you got. From the reconciliation from the selectmen's budget committee budget, that sheet. And you run your finger along the very last line, youth assistance. Which is 8488. That you revise the budget down to 4987. Right, and if you look at that line item in the budget, still 8488. So there has to be something else. Isn't working here.
That, you should have gotten a fresh sheet.
Yeah.
We talked about this last night, and you should have gotten a fresh sheet.
You did, it was in here.
Yeah, I didn't look away. I just went through the stuff that I had. So, this new one?
Yeah, find a revised one.
Can you email that to us so that we have it? Yes.
No, the revised one is not there. The revised one she handed out to me. That's not in there.
Anybody need a
On the
copy?
table.
If you could please have it sent to everybody.
Yeah,
that would be great.
I appreciate it, email, so I can.
Okay. That I asked the question. So, sorry, I missed something up front here. I just want to, if you go to page 2, computer software lease supports. We've already spent 64,000 of that budget. 64%, 64% of the budget.
Oh, okay, 64%.
Yeah, of the budget, sorry. Yeah, no. So, which seems high to me, these are 16,000 for the rest of the year. And I take that and I look at the sheet here that has the software ETF in it. And the 10,000 amount, and then so we've bought the ClearGov, the 9791 expenditure. But I go back and I look at the trustees report, and I see no money's come out of the trustees report. So I'm just curious as to whether, and maybe there's the timing difference between the trustees report and this one, but
So usually the trustees, I mean, literally every single month, we get, and actually, it's at various times, we feed our treasurer, who comes in and he is notified when there is something in there that we pay, and he pays them very regularly, and those reports are updated. So they're consistent. He gets these all the time. All the time. It doesn't sit. Other towns, they do quarterly requests from the EPS, but here we don't. They're done upon receipt.
yeah, so if you look at it right now, the town software ETF has the 10,000 going in, but it's got no withdrawal.
Because we haven't received anything.
Yeah, but what I'm worried is it has been paid according to this sheet here,
Town probably has to pay for it.
which I'm worried about that it's staying in the budget. And
The president report is through the end of April.
so that they may be.
I think it's just
Timing. Okay, well, can we just follow up and make sure?
But are you saying that it really shouldn't be on this?
well, it should be on both. Financial.
No, it should only be in the ETF,
Because it's not in the budget.
not in the budget. Yeah, it should only be in the ETF. Which is, we're gonna spend some time talking about warrant article tracking.
Rob. Our loan trustees report is on through April. We've not been, the receipt has not been submitted to the trustees. Oh.
So we should go back and make sure that it's in the right pocket,
Right, I agree.
right? All right.
It's on your list, right?
Oh, you can, yeah, I wasn't just diligent here, but I'm gonna give it to you anyways. Yep, it's there. Okay. So is there any more questions on the other revenues and expenses?
Patriotic purposes, how does this?
This guy applied for the million.
Yeah.
I think it's for all the flags.
And for
Yeah, I
flag
was gonna say.
cemetery,
I came up last week.
yeah, it's a license cemetery.
Yeah. Okay. So. Do you have this? Do you have the sheets? One.
One article back.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So. I think we spent more money fixing issues on this and also on more time and effort tracking this, and I'm not sure we really have it down yet. As to what's going on, and I'd really like to get, this to me is the highest exposure area for the budget committee and for the selectmen. So. So when I look at this,
Let me say we have.
I'm sure we do, because if we didn't, then would be, I don't know, we kind of scared, I guess. On this whole thing, so I think so there are two different pieces that go on. One is what's actually in the municipal accounting system. So I'd like to see that, because each one of these different warrant articles is tracked in a separate account. So I would like to get a printout. This is good, because it provides some of the other additional information, but I'd like to get a printout what's actually in the books and records, because what that tells me, Steve, is what's being booked against. So for instance, this ClearGov issue we're having right now, we're thinking about, it'll show me what's being booked against the warrant article, and I can see how much that's been spent. From this sheet, I can't really tell, because I don't have the actual debit and credit, the actual.
You wanna see
I
the
think
journal
that
entries.
This sheet was done on.
Right.
System is not. Let's put it, it's not the kind of, it's not at the level of performance that you and I would be accustomed to.
So I'd be concerned about, just to be candid on this, when I looked at this last year. It was clear that there were a number of entries that hadn't been closed out. There was enough number of cash entries that hadn't been processed to the right place. There were debits and credits, and there were negatives and positives where there shouldn't be negatives and positives. So I think that's why I want to focus on getting this cleaned up in 2026. So
Doesn't that really show in the trustees account?
No,
No.
we're talking about the regular, and it's just a series of, depending upon, I mean, all of the municipal software is a little different. But, you know, there is reporting of the journal entries, and it can show which ones it has been placed against either the ETF and or the operating expense. But those are things that can be both, they are reports that can be pulled off of the municipal software. You're right, it's not as user friendly, it is doable though.
So I think,
Hoping that the report writer that comes with the budget.
But if it's not being entered at the fundamental rate though, and it's being charged off, for example, I'm just gonna throw this out there. We buy a new police cruiser and it gets put against an operating instead of the ETF, that's where the problem's gonna be, that's where your negatives versus your positives and all that stuff happens. And if the cash account's not being reconciled and or allocated to the right departments, i.e. zoning, planning, all that, that's where the problem, and then it just kind of, and then we get the report and it's either 200% or it's 150. That's, am I wrong? Is that your
Yeah.
concern?
that's it. So I think, as I look at this, there's sort of a mix matching of all sorts of things going on. And so I think we have to get a basic roadmap of how we're going to deal with this. And so I'll give you an example. The road preparation and paving, which may be a bad one, but let's go to the next one, the engineering. Okay, there was a warrant article, number 23 in 2026. What that should show, if we went to the account, is $45,000 as the amount. The budget, right? That was and then it showed 45,000 going to the ETF. And if I go to, which it did, and so if I go to the trustees report, I can take a look, and it makes sense. I look at the addition, and I go for $45,000 showing up in the engineering and permitting ETF. That warrant article, number 23, right now is closed out. It's done. What's meant to happen with it has happened. It's finished. And so so we should just move that and that should, project status, each funded, done. It's finished. It's not open, it's nothing, it's expended, it's come out of the tax appropriated amount this year and it's gone into the ETF. So that's done. The road preparation and paving one, 620,000, you haven't funded yet. And I'm sure you haven't funded it for good reason, because you've got some cash flow things that you manage and with tax collection. You can't pay all the warrant articles that get picked up over two payments in one payment. So that hasn't been funded into the ETF yet.
We
We
haven't spent it.
It doesn't matter.
It has been,
It's going from,
Because of,
it should have already been funded.
it's gone to an ETF.
Therefore, capital reserve. Whether or not, then you can spend it accordingly. It's just, you guys know. Right?
So that should have gone to an ETF. The vital equipment. As I go down through all of these, I mean, we can spend time, but the software ETF, so that was funded to the ETF. As far as that one article, now it's done. We have another thing to look at as to how the ETFs were spent, right? But that's really the selectmen's discretion, how they spend those. And so there's nothing left in that balance. It's been taken care of. It's not going to go to the unassigned fund balance or anything. It's done. It's finished. The 10,000 has been funded. So the next one, 2026 number 38 ETF town facility, that 35,000. So it looks like that there was a blow in the drafting of that warrant article, because it says town facility ETF, and the first line says to fund 35,000 to a capital reserve fund. Which means it goes to the capital reserve fund.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's on the ETF.
Yeah. So that one we have to go back. I think we should fix that next year. Something with it, but it was broken in the warrant article. This transfer station renovation, the 25,000 went into the ETF. The money coming out comes out of the ETF, doesn't come out of anything else. And so what I'm worried about is how the accounting for this is all working behind the scenes. Yeah. So that's just a general. So I would like to see the accounting, and I'd like to check. I would love to go back, and this is not a big task. It's like 20 line items, but I'd like to go back to 2023 and go through every single money warrant article. And it's not going to take long to do it. And go through and say, whatever it was $80,000 to the fire engines of that went into the capital reserve fund. That's done. 0. What do our books and records say? 0. We're done. We're checked off. And then the ones that are still open, so we'll have 95% will check off. And there'll be a couple that will still be open. And then let's keep those and let's figure out what to do with them and how they're doing. But let's then have that sheet reconciled back to the books and records. So
The sheet's really not adequate for
no,
record keeping because you're intermingling two different.
Yeah, because part of the CIP report in the past, we used to have another chart that showed all those things from year to year to year, and it wasn't very accurate. I kept trying to get what was actually spent.
It's perfectly doable on the municipal software. It is doable and it should be done. I mean, because you are talking about ETS and capital funds. They're not the same. Those are two different animals. Those are two different ways of spending the money. For example, you have a town that has an expendable trust fund and they needed to do something at a town-owned facility, and the townspeople had say, okay, it goes into an ETF fund. When that check is written from the town, it's designated against that ETF fund on the accounting system. That way it doesn't show up in the operating budget, because what would happen is that number would be up here. And what I believe is happening and what we've seen, and I'm only going by what we've seen, is that some of those monies, instead of being tagged in the correct way, they're creating these either large high numbers or large no numbers because they're not being booked correctly on the municipal side.
So this needs, we need to spend some time going through. So I look, for instance, at the multi ETF police cruiser, and then we spend 106,505.36 I mean, I don't know what that means. We haven't spent it, it's like, I don't know what that means.
I'm sorry, are the entries exclusively made by the town administrator? How many people are involved in the process?
Just between Audrey and Cammy.
Yeah.
It's hers is a little bit. That's typically not.
That's a generic, so I think we need to keep these things clean as they go into either capital reserve and expendable trust fund, and then we look at those. We can look at the corpus. I mean, it's not a lot of items. You can see what's coming out of the capital reserve fund. We know what the warrant article said, and it's coming out. You know, take money out of the capital reserve fund. It came out. Yeah, it came out.
So the one that really is on top of that is the number 38, yeah, for the town facility, correct?
Yeah, that's
The
one.
35 grand.
And then the transfer station innovation, there should be money that should bring into that. This money you're spending shouldn't be, it should be coming out of the ETF. The police cruiser, the same thing. The fire suppression system. That was like a 2023 warrant article. I don't think it was, I don't think that was non-lapsing. I know that we did encumber money at some point in time on this. So I think this is one of those ones, before you spend money, you just want to go and make sure that those funds were encumbered. And that, you know, you had the right, that they were properly appropriated to spend.
So I have a question. If there was a warrant article that said we should spend what's much of that system to pay fire. It wasn't going into the capital reserve, it wasn't going into ETF, it was just to be spent that year. What report is that showing up?
No, it would be in a capital reserve fund.
No, we'll go in this report
Yeah.
right here. This is the report we're going. So we just show 2023 fire suppression system, 53,000. Show spent 38,000 to go 12,000. Status would be non-lapsing by warrant article or signed contract or encumbered by selectmen. Completion 2026. That's what the sheet should show.
And so that the extra that we didn't spend goes back into the.
Unsigned. So when it gets closed, so I want to see when it gets closed out, that amount then drops into the unassigned fund balance. Exactly.
Because they're not, all warrant articles aren't into capital reserves or
No.
ETFs, they're just to be spent.
Twice we spent.
They still should be documented separately from the budget.
Right.
That's
So-
the key.
So if you look, for instance, at the 2025 neighborhood road PNP, we had a warrant for 195,000. There's 180,000 was spent, and 14,000 is going to the unassigned fund balance. That's complete and should be
And all those numbers need to be accounted for, and they need to show that they're going back into the unassigned fund.
closed to unassigned. So I don't know, the other issues in here. So on the fire suppression, we should figure out why that is, how we can still spend that money. Canaan Road drainage. It says active. I went back and looked at this 2024 warrant article. This was not a non-lapsing. So I don't know how we're spending money. I don't know how that's gonna happen. I don't know why it is. Maybe we have a contract already. I don't know. But I also don't think that the 51 think the 51,548 is not what we spent. I think that's what the town's obligation is for the 15%. Or 10% or whatever, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. Yeah, whatever their percent of that is. But maybe we have spent that, I don't know.
Maybe it's active because grant or has, we get the grants before we do those.
Right, but we
It's not encumbered and it's not a contract. They lapse.
lapsed. So we'd have to go back. The solar facility, so on this one here, I know that there was a contract. And so I'm sure that's what we're saying, that we can continue to spend money because it was not non-lapsing. That contract had a notice to proceed in it. So based on how the contract worked, if I remember correctly, it was, they did the engineering for like an amount not to exceed $45,000 or something. And then after that 45,000 was done and the engineering came back, the town then had the right to either decide to proceed or not to proceed. So the money wasn't contracted for, it was still open. So I'm not sure how that's, I mean, I kind of think it's water under the bridge. Body worn camera. So this is not the grant, this is half the money. And so we should have the full amount, then what we spent, and then there would be the grant, and this would be complete. Major road paving for 2025, I know we spent that money. So there's no remaining balance. So that just can't be right. The 510,000 can't be right because that's a 2025 warrant article. It's got to be wrong. Anyway, I'm going to,
Get the point. We get the drift.
yeah.
We just need to be all looked at.
Yeah. So, but this is information that's being, it's siloed in a Excel spreadsheet, right? So, but you know more about the reporting mechanism on the system. I mean, the system is,
You can.
yeah, you should be able to run a query and pull it.
You can. Some of them are more cumbersome than others, but
Sure.
it is, and it's absolutely. And it would be more accurate. And this would also see any errors that is, you know, false numbers.
Also eliminating duplication of efforts and also, you know, potential errors and so forth. Yeah.
So I would like to come with a plan when we go back and we clean this whole thing up, going back to like some date and time. When we come through and we get all squared away and we have it forever and we've maintained that forever. Going forward, so this is not a lot of items. Truly isn't. It's 15 items a year, 20 items a year, most of which disappear after 12 months. So I'm gonna leave this squarely with you. And I'm around, so I'm more than happy to spend time and help on this. And what I want to do is not come to September and figure it
I
out.
agree.
All right. Is there anything else to worry about? And then this Mirror Lake this 2024 one for Mirror Lake CWSF RF grant. I want to really understand what's going on this because we're showing 1,800 being spent here. And I know in February, Audrey said she'd sent 2 checks for like $10,000 out. So I want to understand where that money is coming from, what account is coming out of, where it was appropriated, because we didn't appropriate any dollars on this account at all. If you go back to warrant articles, the worst looking warrant article I've already highlighted. I was part of it, so I'm equally to blame, but. Okay. Sorry. Police station, you moving on, anything else on that? Selectmen town administrator update, yeah,
The appliance is listed price, the same amount, and either the top 4th item and the
Yep.
4th from the bottom.
Yep, bears. Yep.
Yep, you're right.
You just found that $2,000, Joe. Thank you.
So I have, I'm looking at this sheet, right? And I'm going back and I'm looking at this sheet we were just on, police station. And it says that the remaining balance, I'm assuming of what we haven't expended. I'm assuming that the 2025 petition warrant article 500,000 is the last remaining funds we have left to fund the police station. Okay,
What was your question? The sheet we're looking at? What is it?
you see on the, we've got police station, 500,000.
Yeah.
203, so I think that is the last remain. I think we used the capital reserve account out. We drew that down. We used the other non-lapsing. Right, and so this is the last money to go in. There's nothing else listed on here anyway. I guess status in the separate, I don't know,
So same we have.
300,000.
Maybe 6,000, but outstanding bills at 371.
Yeah. That's, wow, you got there first than I could,
I
yeah.
know.
So I don't know, but you know, it says multiple over here, so I don't know whether there's something else that isn't. I don't know if there's any other money out there, so we should find out where there is.
This also looks like it's potentially an Excel spreadsheet. It should have all been tracked in the software.
Yeah.
And this, there should be more accurate reporting. It could be just coming from the software itself, as long as it's being allocated to the police station capital reserve.
Right,
This is not part of the operating.
right, yeah. So again, it should be like a thing report coming out of the software.
You should be able to pull a report.
So I'm looking at this and,
Even if it's under two.
that's okay, no,
Even if it's under two different, say, it's under an ETF, or it's under a capital reserve. Those are reports that can be pulled in the municipal software and, you know, adding machine to take the two bottom numbers and add the two numbers. So, but you would then see actually where the checks, which I believe the checks all went to these people, but those would be right in, they would be right in the software. They would be right in the report.
so, and as I look at this, I'm looking at, I don't know whether the top line is for propane. I'm assuming it's propane we consuming for construction, during construction.
Yeah, temporary heat.
Okay, temporary, okay. So I'm not seeing anything for like paving, landscaping, paving the road, landscaping.
Paving hasn't been done yet, landscaping hasn't been done yet.
I know, but I'm,
There's
so
nothing being calculated within, in this little.
it's 5,000. Yeah, but so I guess, what's MEP? What does MEP stand for?
Mechanical, electrical, plumbing.
So I know we've got 108,000 left. I'm trying to figure out what else is left to go. So I'm just wondering whether we have,
What is RM? FRP?
Fiberglass reinforced panels. That's that white corrugated stuff you find on the kitchen walls,
Yeah.
easily washable. Easily washable, and also fire.
so I guess my question is just, you know, what else is left to go after the 1956? I don't see the paving, which I'm sure is some pretty significant paving.
Paving is included in the excavation budget, I believe.
Ah, well, would answer that.
And we're gonna get some landscaping, hopefully donated. We're gonna be meeting with somebody in a couple weeks.
So can we just, so right now, as we think about it, this is what we have.
Yeah, and I think all the major contracts have been signed. Oh, paving is on here.
It's there.
It's
Well,
right below site work. 51,801.75. It's about 2/3, 3/4 of the way down.
sorry, got it.
No worries.
Thank you. There you go. All right. I knew it was gonna be a big number, you know, which there was.
And I'm pretty sure that we've, committed, contracted or committed to, everything.
Okay. So I think the only question then is the 296,000, how this, what's left on this particular warrant article, how that relates to what we still have to spend. So the 296,000 left versus 372,000 to go.
Well, I think on the back page, the 371, 87402, I think that's the number that was still, we hadn't paid out yet.
I know, but
That
you
we
have,
committed to.
that the issues you're, based on the schedule we got, you only have 296,000 left.
We'll have the money
They're
in the
going
fund.
from the warrant.
Mark, you're actually short. Can we get a real accounting on that?
Yeah.
Because if you're short $100,000, that's gonna be a problem.
And I'm sure there may be other money somewhere, or there may, you know,
It's the only one left, we expensive.
but then, well, I mean, I guess what that would mean, because I know the 2.064 is less than what we have. And yeah, like all the reserves, right, all the accounts. Actually, that is the amount, 2.064 was the amount we had.
Did
So
we have
then-
an interest somewhere? On the money we've been holding for them?
I think this is what it would be.
So there is some money still left in that one, but I mean, you know, it's not gonna be huge.
According to this, it shows that we were, $108,000 under budget for a file.
That doesn't match up with the information that was provided to us on the warrant article.
There may be a timing issue. There may be- he's trying to-
Yeah, the last one, I think, this is what I don't like about having spreadsheets created separately.
I totally agree with you.
Should all be on one system.
Yeah.
Timing issues. All right. Our 2025 accounting firm status,
Yeah.
You know, arbiter,
neither one.
what's it?
They couldn't be here this week.
They're actually quite good.
Did we hire?
Huh?
Well, did they hire?
What's it, they do a lot of things. They'll be on here for several towns.
Do they come in the realms of our budget?
Well, above, but closer, a little less closer than the other.
Good. I see.
Considerably less than 60.
But I understand, you see the report? Look at this thing. And just to read it costs about. The DC admin support, any,
Oh, yes, let's talk about that. This is the last meeting that Audrey will be doing the secretary. And we want you to consider doing the other town committees in selecting your own secretary, which would be someone, I'm sure, being very compatible with the group. And you have a budget for the secretary. And the only caveat is that because there'll be a town employee that we will need you to propose who that'll be, but
yeah, it's not gonna happen. I don't know anybody, I'm not gonna go back, sit out an advertisement and start anything with my own. But this is part of the responsibility. We've always had, since I've been on this vice committee for 6 years, there's always been somebody who's done this.
so the other committees and planning board, for example, they have their own secretary, which they obtain. And we're just saying that it needs to be done the same way as the other committees in town. And there's been no overwhelming response to the advertising that we've done. But
May I ask, what have you done for advertising?
there has been some, yes.
Well, where?
I don't
guess.
know, I don't know.
Website, newspaper.
How about
The
Indeed?
mention in the Tuftonboro Times.
How about Indeed, ZipRecruiter, anything that people use nowadays? Nobody reads the Grunter, sorry. It's toilet paper.
I said that 100 times.
Okay. And the Tuftonboro Times, unfortunately, is very limited. Our website, is the dump open today? Is the dump open today? Is the dump open today? Look on the town website. I'm sorry, it's just those are not effective advertising mechanisms, and I just wonder if a different, we're in the whatever century now, using ZipRecruiter or Indeed or something like that, that somebody would be interested in doing a per diem. And, you know, I mean, why are we gonna get involved in the compensation pay and all that, whether, you know, and I know that we'd be a town employee, but I think, I don't know, that's kind of,
Like even posting it up on Facebook, will probably get quite a few.
you know, but I'm just saying, I mean, I understand that the planning board has their own secretary, but that person was hired by the town, that person wasn't hired by the planning.
The notion that this person is not gonna work really closely with Audrey and have all the work that goes into preparing for the public hearing and putting all the budgets together and getting that all done, because quite frankly, Ashley did that all last year, not Audrey. And so this is not somebody just taking minutes.
Yeah.
And doing the agenda. It's a much more integrated, they have to know the system, they have to be able to access the system. And if there was to be an assistance to Audrey, that would be probably really helpful, would be to hire like a part-time accountant to do this work and be that person. But that's, you know, you got $4,000 in the budget. You're not hiring anybody for that.
Yeah.
Which is not, you know.
So
So
you have that.
this just so what happened, this was dropped on us. And I'm not gonna go back on how that all happened, I'm just moving forward, eyes forward. But I squarely view this as a town administrative responsibility to get the person on board and hire and move forward. That town administrator reports to the
I need a quasi volunteer, retired accounting type that would work with Audrey and do the stuff for us. That's what we need. I don't know how to get that, but
I don't either.
that's what we're like.
I would recommend right now, by ZipRecruiter, Indeed, and any other avenues that are way more up to date, because you're not really gonna get Facebook if we need to.
I know, it's.
But it does
insane,
work.
that We'll probably get some.
It does work, and there are people that do
I
look.
bet it's
Because
actually
you're not gonna get anybody to do this work this time. It's been $4,000.
No.
No.
It's like, doesn't pass the.
And in other towns, the town administrator is the direct link and does do a lot of the back work. I mean, I'm speaking because I know firsthand, I'm not saying this.
So other towns, do they use town administrator to do that function of
Yeah.
taking minutes?
Oh, no. Not necessarily taking minutes. It might be a secretary that just takes the notes, does those things, it may be a simple stuff. But the town administrator provides all that documentation and all that
Yeah.
to the budget.
Okay, so
That is their function.
Well, we're not saying that the town administrator won't provide the information that you guys request. We're just saying that the secretary function needs to be done. Yeah.
well, I mean, I think the person we're hiring is going to be reporting to it.
It's pretty clear that the town is responsible for providing. It's pretty clear under the RSA's that you guys are responsible for the admin and.
I don't think that's the case.
Well, I can go pull for
I
that.
believe we could differ on the interpretation. But we provide support to you. That doesn't mean we do these various functions. We do provide information.
Okay, I can tell you that this entire committee will resign to write an article if that happens. 'Cause I will walk out of here. Just telling you. Okay,
Well, the only other thing, I'll speak to the problem now is, so take all that out. Need somebody to do that job for the remaining budget, it's going to be a challenge. And I don't think it's up to the budget committee to have to come up with a dollar amount to get somebody to do that. position, whether it's just purely secretarial, with de minimis information gathering at our meetings. It's now an actual budget problem because there's not money to actually adequately fund when you say a secondary position. There's not
Well,
money
that's
to
our
fund
problem
that.
too.
So,
It was your budget.
There was plenty of money in there for when Ashley was working, doing all the stuff, so all her money, the grant side.
right,
So,
so she's been reassigned, but that was being used by the budget committee, and now it's being used by the town in a different capacity, so that's not being a budget.
Okay, I can't respond to that because I don't know.
But that's what it was. She was hired and she was ours. The town has now taken her and used her in a whole different capacity, still paying her whatever she was making and maybe give a raise. We don't know, and that's irrelevant. But that was, right, but I'm just saying though, that was ours and now it's been taken away and now we're supposed to do something for her.
You know, the real problem is. I've been here for 25 years. I can name you a selectman who was on board before Marty was here, that always had the financial background and was the liaison. And she had an assistant, and that was the assistant that did the minutes. But we always had, I can name you the selectman, you know, Sue Weeks. You know, she was financially oriented, Calvin Sunquist, you know, all of this. And when we hired Audrey, we did have Chip, who was smart enough to do all this stuff, but he was overworked. And so he tried to build up the position for Audrey to handle it, and that's where it's breaking down because she needs an assistant.
Well, she has the assistant now. She is Ashley. And the problem was Ashley was hired for us.
That's not existing anymore.
Right, yeah, to your point.
Yeah.
so
that's
it can't come down to the budget.
No, I can't, it can't.
Hire their own person.
It's gotta be the town, not doing that.
So interrelated to putting in information and doing the work and all that have somebody, you know.
So I can say that the selectmen will review the issue.
Yeah,
You got a couple months.
Yeah.
I think ultimately we're probably talking about your budget. Or less.
But we're constrained by the budget we have.
You end up having, you're gonna end up having, you hire somebody by August, you know, you can end up carrying it through. I just think make sure you put more money into the budget. There's other places where there's money.
Well, that's clear. MRI offers assistance. If worse comes to worse, we're 11th hour and we got our backs up against the wall and we don't have anybody. Something to think about. It's probably a good idea to think about it now.
Yeah. I mean, I would go out and try and find somebody and gonna have to eat it for the short period of time. And, you know, it's gonna be an extra $8,000, but as you said, in a $5 million budget. Let's give it 10 grand.
We have a little bit of room to do something like this.
Anything else?
Very good. Can we get some information, up to date, real-time information on how the solar project is going? And it's only because it's come up in the community. I just want to be able to answer the question.
What's operating?
It's
If
in
you go
operation.
to the website,
Understood.
town's website, you see what those panels are producing.
Okay.
We got a credit of over $1,000 as well.
So is there a summary in there with all of the expenses, all of the income and the potential forecasted payback period and all of that stuff?
Oh, I doubt it.
Okay, so that's what we're looking for. If it's at all possible to
I
produce.
thought that was part of what you guys presented.
But now we're starting to get real time.
Yeah,
Well, that's projected, but now we have real numbers.
so how's that gonna help you?
Huh?
How's that gonna help? the money's been spent, the revenue will be whatever we get.
Well, you've got taxpayers who are looking at this. And they're good, and they're asking questions, and we should probably be able to provide some way of communicating exactly what we did in order to justify some of the decisions we made in the past.
That's the
It's more of a
pro forma,
confidence issue.
the pro forma that they presented, when we first went into the project, that's probably the best that we have right now until we establish a timeline.
It'll be only a month or so, revenue does.
We're not gonna know for a year. We're gonna need a year under our belts to be able to average it out.
I guess there are two things that would be good to know. One would be whether it's producing, if they were projected to produce. So that's, whether it's producing the kilowatt hours that we thought it was gonna produce. But so its capacity is the same, because that will affect obviously, and then,
But you and I both know that with only like a month's worth of activity, that's not meaningful to determine how much it's gonna actually work.
oh,
I
no,
mean, we need a longer timeframe
Well,
in operating before.
Well, our next meeting is, what,
no, but I think you can tell, like on a sunny day, is it producing at capacity? Because if it's only producing at 80% capacity, then we have a problem on a sunny day, right? We're not gonna get this. That's one. So you can say, yeah, that's what we're seeing today is operating at capacity. And then two, the other big part of this is what the rates were projected out. And then the project, how do they compare to the rates that are in existence today? And I would imagine, they should be pretty good. No?
I don't know.
Yeah, we should go back and take a look and see what those rates look like and just see what our rates, and we should have, the reason why I thought they would be pretty good is one, because of what's happening to energy prices. So it's affected natural gas, which all electricity trades off. So I think the natural gas pricing has moved up, not as badly as oil, but it's become more expensive. And we're also 2 years out. So our original projection had us starting in 2024. So they've got for year one, got 2 years of inflation on their rate. So we can say, yeah, it's pretty good. We produce what we thought we were going to produce and produce this rate. And then I think it was a 7-year payback. Or a 12-year payback. 12-year payback. So, yeah, something like that.
yeah, I mean, at least now we have one functioning month. Everything's paid out on a monthly basis. We can do some real-time forecasting. I know it's not gonna be complete. Be helpful.
Right.
I have a question. I tried to look at our session from our last meeting on through the website, the YouTube, and I didn't get any knowledge. And I looked at the selectmen's meeting and it wasn't muted and my computer volume was up, but there wasn't a volume. Did anybody
Sometimes,
else watch it?
sometimes it does happen with mine too, but it's gonna be a volume issue here because like I have to have it on 110% and it's very, very, very soft.
I turned it all the way up and I had not. Both meetings, like last selectmen's meeting and our last meeting, I tried to look at. I just wondered if there's some issue with that.
I get a good look through
You're
this.
being on that microphone, I don't know. what
But
it
you
is.
do have to, we need to speak up so that. it gets
Hello.
So
But I thought it might not have been on somehow, because there was nothing.
sounds like a technical issue.
Would you look into that, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
All in favor?
Hi.
Bye.
All right, computer guy.
See you in September.